Hi, everyone. Welcome to our 8th grade bridge session today on mastering organization. Hopefully you can pull some skills or tools from this presentation. We're going to be talking about all the things when it comes to organization for high school students. So let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. Okay, so in this lesson, students consider how to utilize organizational skills for lifelong success. Students learn key skills and develop personal organizational tools for achieving their goals. And as always, if you aren't able to stay the whole time today or you want to refer back to this presentation, we are going to link it to our website. So feel free to use that video as a resource if you'd like. All right, so we're going to explore the connection between organization and academic success. We're going to understand habits and how they are developed and explore systems for organizing materials and information for learning. So first we look at making connections here. Okay, so let's look at this quote. It says, if you fail to plan, are you planning to fail? So what does this mean to you? And this quote is by Benjamin Franklin. So if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. Okay, so what does that mean to you? All right, so maybe, if you know something is coming up, right? And you just decide to put it on the back burner and you don't think about it and you don't plan for it. Essentially, it's kind of like planning to fail, right? It's not just going to go away. The responsibility that you have, but essentially, you're going to like possibly fail with that responsibility if you don't plan appropriately. So I don't know. That's how I feel like what that quote means. Okay, so we're going to watch a video explaining the 6 habits of highly organized people. And I love this video for adults, for high schoolers. I just think there's so many great things on this video that helps us become more organized people and like real substantial tools that we can use. So let me go ahead and open it up.
That overwhelming feeling that your life is one giant mess. As a student, parent, or average person, you've got a lot going on, and it can be a real challenge to get in control and stay there. So what's the best way to get your life organized? I asked Nicole from Neatnik for her advice because she is a professional organizer. It turns out there are 6 habits highly organized people have in common. What's really interesting about these top tips is you can apply them to organizing anything, not just a physical space. Now, you might be wondering why you should even care about being organized. So let's see if any of these reasons blow your hair back. You'll be more focused on what you want to achieve, be able to prioritize your tasks, and set and achieve your goals more efficiently. You'll manage your time more effectively, work more economically, and be more productive. You'll be less stressed, achieve more balance in your life, and be more flexible. And you might even have more energy and enthusiasm once you've achieved freedom from chaos. Sound good? Okay, here's how to do it. Habit number 1, keep it simple. Elaborate organizational systems are hard to maintain, and most of the time, they're not worth the effort. Whether you're organizing your sock drawer or your class notes, have as few steps as possible. Otherwise, it'll be too frustrating to maintain over time. Going crazy with a fancy color coding system might look pretty cool, but the effort can outweigh the benefits. Choose a system that's easy to use and you'll become more productive, not less. Develop routines. If there are things you have to do every day or week, create set routines about when and how you do them. This is about managing your time more effectively, saving yourself the mental effort of continual planning and rescheduling. Turn your important tasks into routines. Fit the rest of your life around them, not the other way around. When is your best time to study, exercise, socialize, clean your home, or relax. Develop morning and evening routines for your regular tasks, whether it's study or putting out the recycling. Anybody's routine can get broken, but always try to get your groove back as soon as possible. Have a place for everything and put everything in its place. This might be common sense, but it's not always common practice. If you don't know where things belong, you can't put them away. You might have a shelf for all your textbooks and class notes, a special section of your closet for your winter clothes, or folders on your computer for all your assignments. So this works for physical things or digital things, or even your knowledge, like I teach at Memrise Academy. Try not to put something down temporarily, but take a few extra seconds to put it where it belongs, every time. Keep a current and detailed to-do list. Don't be mistaken, it takes planning to be organised. Work backwards by starting with your end goal and then decide what smaller steps you'll follow to get there. Try to keep lists for daily tasks as well as longer-term projects. And use a central list for everything, whether it's in a physical notebook or a digital list on your computer or phone. If you write random reminders on loose pieces of paper, make sure you transfer them to your main list and keep it current. And giving yourself deadlines can help you to get things done and crossed off your list. Don't get bogged down by perfectionism. You don't have to be perfect to be organised, so don't think you need to get everything done exactly right. Prioritise tasks and try to learn where and how you can take shortcuts and how to get things done quickly. Be honest and think about what's really important. The end goal is progress, so it's less about perfection and more about action. Toss things daily and purge routinely. Organised people don't wait for a free weekend or an open block of time to get themselves and their lives in order. They constantly cross things off their list, throw things away, reevaluate what they own, and tidy their house in the way they operate. They may take a few minutes each night to clean off their desk, delete old files from their computer or emails from their inbox, or throw out the expired food from their refrigerator. Organising is not a separate event, it's part of their day. And there you have it. Whether you're organising your room or home, your computer, the way you study, the way you think, your social life, or the goals you want to achieve, these 6 habits will get you streamlined and heading in the right direction. Keep it simple. Develop routines. Have a place for everything and put everything in its place. Keep a current and detailed to-do list. Don't get bogged down by perfectionism, and toss things daily and purge routinely. If you'd like to get advice from a professional organizer on organising your room, home, or physical space, head over.
All right, so I love that video. I think it's so helpful. I use a lot of those skills in my every day-to-day. So hopefully you were able to get something out of that, and it was able to help you maybe get some ideas on how to be more organized as well. Okay. What is something that stood out to you? So go ahead and tell me, what is something that you're like, man, that is a good idea, or that's a good tip, and I definitely could benefit from that. For me, one of the things that I thought about was when he was talking about making organization part of your daily routine. So when you are leaving your desk for work at the end of the day, you clean up your desk, and that's just a part of your routine. So then it doesn't become just a big pile that you have to take so much time to conquer later. I really like that. I kind of implemented that into my own household. So every night my kids, they have to pick up their room. Maybe during the day they're playing in there and they're making a mess, and that's fine. But at the end of the night, before they go to bed, they just have to pick everything up. And it's really helped keep their rooms under control. And if anybody has little kids, or they could probably understand that all the toys get so overwhelmed. This could also be for students, right? If they have their desk and they have papers, maybe there's just papers everywhere. Organizing those each day so that you don't lose them and it doesn't become this big grueling task that you have to do at another time. Okay, so here are some steps for organization. Staying organized can be challenging. The best way to improve your organization is to create habits. So a habit is something you do on a regular basis without much thought or planning. And then just a fun little fact is at least 45% of what you do every day is out of habit. And it takes a little bit of time to create those habits based on your routine, right? You can't just like do something one day and it's a habit. You have to do it. I think I read like 15 times, right? You have to do that thing 15 times for it to be an everyday thing or become a habit. So when we form habits, we start with information, and then that information is then transferred to knowledge. And then that knowledge is transferred to skill. And then we practice that skill and it becomes a habit. And like I said, there's lots of practice that goes into it. Meaningful practice, and then also doing it over and over again for it to become something that just happens naturally for us or a habit. So here are some things that you can do as a high school student to organize your life a little better. I would highly recommend using a digital calendar or planner. So if you have a physical one, that works too. Whatever works for your family is totally fine. I use a digital one because my life at school is digital. So I use Google Calendar. They have all kinds of different ones, right? Apple, if you have an Apple calendar. But using a calendar and making it a habit to use the calendar. Okay, so like every day in the morning, opening up that calendar and seeing what different appointments you have or what different classes. I even tell my I teach a ninth grade class. I even tell my ninth graders, put like study blocks in there. Like if you know you're in math, right? Maybe on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you work on math from like 11 to 12, okay? And that is your habit every day. So you know you have time blocked out for that subject, okay? So as detailed as you can be in your planner, it's gonna make your life a lot easier, especially if you're utilizing it. So this is just a basic planner. I got it off of Canva. You can use something like this, or like I said, something on Google Calendar or Apple Calendar. And typically I'll have students list their subjects on the left side. So they'll be like English, math, science, PE, music, or whatever your student is taking. And then they'll write down each day, like what they're gonna be doing, okay? And maybe if they have a due project that's due or an assignment that's due, maybe that goes in red so that they know, okay, this thing is due on Friday or this thing is due on Thursday. And so I need to use Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday to start working on that. So write down assignments, tests, projects, extracurricular activities in the planner, or use a digital calendar app on your phone or computer. Make it a habit to check your planner or calendar daily to stay updated on upcoming tasks. And also like deleting stuff. If you have an appointment that got canceled, you delete it off there. It's a constant, you're constantly changing it so that it's a working planner, right? So another thing I use are to-do lists. So identify most important tasks each day and prioritize them accordingly. Focus on completing high priority tasks first to ensure you stay on track with your academics and other commitments, okay? So there are just, the old school post-it notes. I have post-it notes that are a little bit longer and have the lines kind of similar to the picture up here on the presentation. And they stick and I write on them. There's also a Post-it app on your computer. So you can open up that Post-it app and you can have different Post-its based on, different things, right? Or maybe you just have one big one and you go down it every day. So same thing with the calendar is you have to make sure that you're looking at these to-do lists and you're crossing things off and you're adding things. And maybe every week you get a new piece of paper and you create a new to-do list and it's like a fresh one, okay? That's what I do, to each their own, but that is also a part of my routine is like constantly looking at my to-do list, crossing things off, making sure I'm doing what I need to do. And then, you know, getting rid of the to-do list when I'm done and creating a new one. So I find that really helpful too. Okay, so we can break things into smaller steps. So this would be good for a project. When they get into ninth grade, they're going to have to start writing essays. There's going to be some group projects. And so breaking those things into smaller steps is really helpful. And I feel like the teachers do a really good job of, at least the high school virtual academy teachers, that's kind of the experience I've had. They do a really good job of helping chunk those bigger assignments into smaller ones for the students. However, if you're not taking one of those classes or you need a little bit more chunking, it's a good idea to look at the big picture, the big task, and breaking it into smaller chunks. Okay, so this can help with procrastination. You know, when you look at it, if you have to write this giant essay and you have to do sources and, you know, there's a lot of different complicated things that go into it, it's like overwhelming, right? And there might be some anxiety associated with that. And so if you look at it and you start to work backwards, and chunk it, it's going to be a lot more manageable. Okay, so maybe your essay is due in a month. Okay, so the first step is you're going to sit down and you're going to list, okay, I'm going to spend 30 minutes and my task is going to be looking at the essay, and I am going to you know, break it up into chunks so that I can start working on it. It's not going to be a big deal. Okay, and then maybe you finish that. Okay, so now you're gonna list all the things that you need to do for that essay. Okay, you are going to create a topic and start researching. Okay, maybe that's gonna take an hour. Okay, maybe the next part is you're gonna fill out a graphic organizer to kind of organize your different different topics, different material. So anyways, just chunking your assignments and maybe using a table like this would be helpful, so that it's not so overwhelming. Because I remember when I was in high school, I would wait till the last minute. I'm just going to admit that right now. I would wait till the last minute. I'd be up all night writing that essay, and it was not a solid essay. I mean, it was just, if I'm going to be real honest, it was junk. Okay. So there's a process to creating good, solid work, and that process needs to start early. So, anyways, breaking up the big, giant things into smaller things to make it more manageable. So the next part is setting deadlines. Okay, so in addition to deadlines set by your teachers, set personal deadlines for completing your tasks. So this kind of goes with chunking the assignments, right? If your essay is due in a month, maybe that first week, you're like, okay, by Friday, I am going to make sure I have my topic. I'm going to make sure I have all my research and all my sources. Okay, so that is like a good deadline for yourself. So then you're meeting those deadlines and you're being able to work through all those steps of the assignment. This will help you manage your time more effectively and avoid last minute rushes. And as you know, like things will pop up too, right? And so sometimes you might not finish everything you need to. You could put that on to the next week, but make sure you're doing majority of it and you're holding yourself accountable so it's not so overwhelming. Okay, so establish a routine. Okay, so this is just a little template over here. This is kind of funny because I feel like as a parent, I'm like, I can eat and I can eat and I'm trying to drink more water. You know? So for high school students, it's important to develop a routine as a young adult, right? Or an almost young adult. So that includes dedicated time for studying, completing homework, participating in extracurricular activities, relaxation. Consistency is key in staying organized and managing your time effectively. Okay, so part of that is like when we were talking about the calendar, the planner, make sure you put all of those little pieces in your planner. Okay, so you don't want to like say, okay, I'm going to do school from 8 to 3. I'm telling you right now, that is like, you need breaks, right? You need to eat lunch, maybe a snack, maybe you need to go outside and see the sun. for 15, 20, 30 minutes. So schedule all of those things into your daily routine, okay? Or schedule them into your planner so it becomes a habit. And it just creates a good flow of your day. Okay, create a designated study space. This is like so important. And I don't think people understand this. I mean, I feel like it's something you just don't really think about. But when I previously homeschooled my kids, and this was a big deal for my son who was older. He needed a place of his own. And when I was homeschooling, it was during COVID and everybody was home. And so he needed that place where he could like just really focus. And it doesn't have to be like a room with a fancy table and all these fancy things. It could be like a corner in your house. My daughter at the time was in kindergarten and she literally had like 2-foot corner in our house. And she had this just tiny little table and she had her pencil box. And that was her space where she was going to do work. And she had all of her books there. And it just helped keep both of them organized and their stuff just wasn't everywhere. So I just think that's so important and it's like their space and they have ownership of that. And it kind of puts them in the mindset, okay, now I'm doing school or now I need to start working. It's just such an important thing, right? And especially if like you're like, man, where's all the pencils? Where's all the scissors? Like if you have just those materials in your student space, they won't have to go searching for them everywhere. Now, some students need to get up and move around and that's fine. But just having a place where they can do their work, right? A corner, if you have a desk, that's great. If you have a whole room, that's awesome. It doesn't need to be fancy, right? Maybe have them help establish that place and create that place too, so that they have some ownership in that. Okay, so use folders and binders. Also, if you're doing a lot of digital classes or virtual online classes, creating folders and systems on your computer. And not just creating random folders, but having like a rhyme and reason to them. So maybe making a folder for each class. And then inside that folder, you have a folder for essays and other assignments, or maybe you work out of Google Docs. But creating an organizational system so that you can find your things, right? Not just having everything in one giant place. It's kind of hard to find. Now, technology has made it easier that we can like just search something in the bar, right? But if you have a binder or if you have folders and you're just shoving everything in there, something could fly out or it's going to be harder to find those things. So establishing an organizational system for schoolwork, whether that's on your computer or in folders or binders or both, you know, maybe you're working on the computer and on paper. So doing those things. Utilize technology, man. There has been so many great things just recently, you know, I mean, and there's going to be more to come, but there are so many awesome tools online or on your computer. So there's apps for taking notes, task management, file storage, all kinds of things. So if you ever want any recommendations, please feel free to reach out to me. I can find, there's like so much out there, right? Sometimes it's a little overwhelming, but you can always find something to help you stay organized. Oh. Okay, review and update regularly. So this is what I was talking about earlier. Make sure that you review your planner or calendar or your to-do list, and like eliminate things and add things, maybe create a new fresh list, reflect on your progress and adjust your organizational strategies according, so that you can improve efficiently. Okay, so if something's not working, don't feel like you have to keep doing it. Maybe find something else that works for you. There's not one size fits all. Everybody's different. Everybody has their preferences. So it might take a couple tries doing different things to make it work, but don't give up. Try to find something that works for your student or your family, um, so that you can be more organized. Okay, and then don't forget self-care. So all of these things and then self-care. So remember to take care of yourself physically and mentally. Get up enough sleep, eat healthy, eat exercise regularly, even if it's just a walk, and make time for activities you enjoy. A balanced lifestyle is essential for staying focused and productive. And if you know this, like, okay, I'm doing all of my work like really good, but you're missing out on these other things, you're going to start to get beat down a little bit, and it's going to create an imbalance in your life. So even if it's just like a walk outside, right? Just get some sun, um, try and get enough sleep. I know I should like listen to this advice because it's hard to do this sometimes, especially when you have so much going on, but try to stay focused on the things that will keep you healthy as well. Okay, so what are three things that you learned today that you will use in high school, either if you're a high school student or if you are a parent? What are three things that stood out to you today? So maybe like organizing your calendar, looking at the to-do list and getting rid of things, creating new habits, creating a space for learning. Yes. All right. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Next week, we will be back again. I hope you were able to grab some things from this presentation that you can utilize in your student's life. All right. Take care. I'll see you next week.